If you have decided to pursue traditional publication, you must have a literary agent to represent you and your project. So how do you do that? In this video, I'll tell you why you need one, how to get one, and what it looks like to work with one. Why do I need a literary agent? No matter what you think you already know about the culture and practices of the publishing industry, you don't know enough. Just accept it. Years ago, I lived in Bangkok, Thailand, and I had to get used to a whole new culture and people who did things differently than I did. Like my time in Bangkok, you may know enough to take your shoes off at the door, but you don't know the rules once you're inside. There are nuances to publishing that only those who have been inside the industry for decades can navigate with ease. So trust me, you need a guide. And here are 4 reasons why. Number 1, a literary agent is the only way to get to a publisher. Many years ago, a new writer could actually send a manuscript directly to a publishing house. In fact, they could send a hard copy. That's what I did with my first book. These days, the standard practice is to approach the publishing house via a literary agent. That literary agent will not be using your hard copy when they do it either. They'll be relying upon your digital book proposal to communicate with the acquisitions editors. Now you might be saying, but what if I know someone who works for a traditional publisher? Do I still have to go through a literary agent? Well, I suppose there are some instances where current day authors have not worked with a literary agent. But when it's such a rare occurrence, why would you even want to spend any time thinking about it? The chances of this happening are slim to none. Besides, if you're somehow able to get the attention of a publisher without the help of an agent, they would eventually send you to an agent anyway. Number 2, a literary agent has connections. The publishing world looks enormous from the outside, but you'd be surprised how small it is. Everyone seems to know one another. And if they haven't worked formally together, then they know a friend of a friend who used to work with them, and it's only a matter of time until they actually meet in person. Industry professionals switch publishing houses all the time, as well as positions within those houses, so you never know who someone knows. You just have to assume that everyone knows everyone. Your literary agent will know which publisher and acquisitions editor is likely to want your manuscript. They will know a certain editor prefers a certain style of writing or is looking for a certain type of book. Those connections work in your favor and make a publishing contract happen faster. Trust has already been established between the agent and the editor, or they're willing to trust based on mutual respect. Number 3. A literary agent negotiates better. Once I heard of a publisher who offered a now well-known Christian author a book contract back when she was only a blogger. The deal was for an advance of $5,000. Then she reached out to a literary agent to secure her representation. And a few conversations later, the same publisher offered the same author an advance of $15,000. An author's advance is the amount of money that a traditional publishing house offers to the writer in exchange for the exclusive printing rights of the book. But money is not the only point of negotiation in a contract. You'll want someone to come to favorable terms regarding everything about the book, from the audio recording to the percentage of royalties to what happens if it doesn't sell well. These are tedious details that have long-term effects for you. You don't want to skim over them. A literary agent has the expertise you need in order to feel secure and confident about the deal that you're making. Number 4, a literary agent is your advocate. You cannot predict what may or may not happen during your publication journey. During the 10 months before your book's release, as well as the years following, you want someone who will serve as a buffer between you and your publisher. Your agent will fight for you and your book's success, sometimes saying things that you can't say yourself, and always drawing both parties back to the fine print of the contract. So, how do I get a literary agent? There isn't a formula for you to follow when looking for a literary agent. There are just several ways to go about it. You might meet your literary agent at a conference for writers. Many of these types of conferences allow you to add on a 15-minute appointment with a literary agent for an extra fee. It's typical that you won't get to choose a particular agent. You'll just be paired with one based on when you enrolled in the conference and how many spots are left available. During your brief appointment, you will need to be prepared. Bring your book proposal in case the agent wants to take it immediately. But more than likely, they will ask you to email them a copy of the proposal if they're interested. Also, bring along a one-pager, similar to the author section in your book proposal. It has a clear list of your personal information and professional qualifications. Always include that professional photograph. And before you go to meet with that literary agent, practice pitching your book until it feels natural and simple to do so. Next, you might meet your literary agent through a referral, like I did. A talent agent at the Speakers Bureau that represents me suggested that I work with a certain literary agent for my next book. That talent agent made an email introduction, and we took it from there. The literary agent was not interested in my initial book proposal, but he did believe I had potential as an author. So he and I worked together on a new book proposal for months. And he offered a contract to represent me 1 year after our email introduction. Another way that you might meet your literary agent is through your own research. If you can name a couple of authors with similar writing styles as yours, scour their acknowledgement page for their literary agent's name. Most authors mention this. Then go to the literary agent's website. They might work for a bigger agency with several agents, and they might have their own agency under their own name. So just be diligent. You will find them. Then study their submission guidelines and follow them to the letter. Every agent is different, so don't assume that you can approach them all the same way. In fact, some request that you not pitch them at the same time that you pitch another agent. So be respectful of this request. If you want them to pay attention to details when they read your book, then you need to show them that you can pay attention to details when you read their submission guidelines. Next, you might meet your literary agent when you look through a website with a current list of literary agents. When you find one that interests you, follow their submission guidelines, as I just stated. Keep in mind that literary agents are inundated with thousands of queries every year. They don't owe you a rejection letter, and many will not even offer or respond when they're not interested in your proposal. So, if it's been about 2 months and you still haven't heard anything from the agents you've queried, then simply move on to the next batch. Don't contact them and ask them if they've received your query. They still may not answer, and it just feels awkward. So what is it like to work with a literary agent? When you've signed a contract to work with a literary agent and they've agreed to pitch your proposal to publishers, then you just wait. They'll be in touch when there are updates. In between nibbles and bites from publishers, there will be silence, kind of like when you go fishing on a pond. Everything that's happening is under the surface. And then something will finally come up and the agent will ask you if you're interested in the offer made by a particular publisher. If you are, the agent will introduce you to the acquisitions editor, and that ball will start rolling. From the contract to the bookshelf, throughout the entire process, your agent will be copied on emails and available for questions. And why are they so present and interested in the book? Because your success is their success. By engaging with a literary agent, you agree to give them a cut of the advance and royalties for the life of the book. With every literary agent, the percentage will be different, but for most, it's around 15%. That may seem like a lot, but their knowledge and understanding of the publishing culture is well worth it. They are fluent in a language that you don't speak. If this video was helpful to you, please show some love and generosity and subscribe, like, comment, and share it with others. And if you're a new Christian author or desire to be, then you will enjoy my step-by-step plan for writing, publishing, and marketing your amazing book. It's called Page 1 to Page 10.